The Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
The first sign is that you are no longer sexually intimate. Okay, just reminding that these are signs for couples, married couples, right? So the first one is that you are no longer sexually intimate. You know, this is something very important for a married couple. It's a very important thing. In married couples, they have to always make sure that they have, a healthy sexual life. Second sign, please, Shad. Second sign. Look at that. You know nothing about each other. Yes, unfortunately, couples, they have this wrong thing. They don't understand much about each other. So if you are that kind, and please, when you're talking about you don't know nothing about each other, it's not necessarily about exactly the color you like. These things also, these details, they are also important, and they will become more, natural with time, okay? Because with time, you're going to get to know better your spouse. But, it's not about tastes, it's not about the color you like, not these necessarily. But, that thing when you look at your husband, you look at your wife, and with a simple sight, you can read him, you can read her. This is really important for a couple as well. Third one, please. You do not seem to understand each other. Yes, that's sad, because that third sign, it's unfortunately is also present in many marriages. People that they lost this mutual understanding. They are always ready to judge, always ready to condemn, but they are not always ready to understand. Don't forget, please, that you are not perfect as well. So when your spouse make mistakes, before you start, judging and condemning your spouse, just remember that you have also your own. Fourth one, you have different interests. Yes, this is also related to couples that they start, disconnecting from each other. And why couples, they disconnect from each other? We'll be talking more about it, but that's a sign also of a broken marriage. When you have different interests, you have no pleasure in doing things together. That's the fifth sign of a broken marriage, when you don't have pleasure in doing things together. I doubt someone will marry, another one if first, they don't feel attracted. Second, if they don't get to know each other. Third, if they don't have this ability to understand each other. Fourth, if they don't have common interests. And fifth, if they don't have that pleasure to be together. Because what is the idea of a marriage? Is to be together forever, right?
Forever, Pastor. And how, and you see that one thing is linked to the other. If they don't have more attraction anymore, so then even staying together, they don't feel it. Yeah. There is something happen, and it is showing, is a sign that needs to be fixed.
There is no single reason why a relationship can begin to break down. However, once a relationship does start to break down, there is a predictable sequence of events that tend to occur. Renowned psychologist and researcher John Gottman suggests that there are 4 stages to this sequence, which he has labeled the 4 horsemen, as they can signify the end of a relationship. According to Gottman, the first stage of the breakdown process involves conflicts and complaints. Some couples are not able to resolve those conflicts successfully or agree to disagree. Also, it's not the number or the intensity that is problematic, but rather whether or not the resolution of those arguments is likely or possible. In the second stage of the breakdown process, one or both partners start to feel contempt for the other. One can treat the other with disrespect, mock them with sarcasm, ridicule, call them names, and mimic or use body language such as eye-rolling or scoffing. The target is to make the other feel despised or worthless. They then find conflict and contempt to be stressful and react by entering into the third stage of breakdown, which is defensive behavior. When someone feels unjustly accused, they will fish for excuses and play the innocent victim so that their partner will back off. Unfortunately, this strategy is almost never successful. The excuses simply tell your partner that you don't care about their concerns or take responsibility for your mistakes. The fourth horseman is stonewalling. This is when the listener withdraws from the interaction, shuts down, and simply stops responding to their partner. Instead of the listener to respond and confront the issues, they choose to tune out or distract themselves otherwise. Criticism, contempt, defensiveness, stonewalling. Whether these four stages form the recipe of a marriage disaster or not, it is certainly better to work hard to avoid them in the relationship, right? Would there be more and different reasons for a marriage to really be over? Actress Gwyneth Paltrow opened up about the difficulties and heartache that came with falling out of love after her divorce from singer Chris Martin. She said, "We didn't want to fail. We didn't want to lose our family. But one day, despite all our efforts, I found that I was not at a fork in the road. I was well down a path. Almost without realizing it, we had diverged. We'd never find ourselves together in that way again." She admitted being introduced by her therapist to the concept of conscious uncoupling, a breakup philosophy. She added that Martin was meant to be the father of her children, while her current husband is meant to be the person she grows very old with. In addition, the uncoupling lets her recognize that those two different loves can coexist and nourish each other. Can there come a time when nothing else can be done? Or is it possible to save a marriage from breaking down? When or how can a person realize that their marriage or relationship has broken down?
You need to realise that the other person becomes a bit unresponsive to you.
I do believe it depends on both sides. One side often breaks down before the other side, and at times it's hard to realise that somebody isn't as close as they once were.
I think it's communication, really. When they basically stop talking to each other in the ways that they should, I think they become distant from each other. The love's gone, it fades.
Every relationship is based on compromise, and when the compromise becomes too great for yourself, it's time to move away. It's time to choose yourself as opposed to trying to choose the other person. When the burden becomes too heavy, when the joy's gone, and when there doesn't seem like there's any other way forwards other than to go your own directions, to go your own journey.
What, if anything, can be done to restore this relationship?
Therapy, maybe. I feel like relationships break down usually because of communication. So if you can improve on communication, maybe if you're not good at it, then therapy might help you communicate with the other person. That might improve the marriage.
Maybe, you need to be together more. You need to sit down. You need to talk in a civilized manner about why it's breaking down. It could be something very simple that you can work out together.
Everything can be restored. Everything can be mended. If we break a phone, a watch, if we rip our jacket, it can be mended. We do live in a society now where everything is throwaway and replaceable, which is as it is. It's not right or wrong, it just is. If you really want to heal a relationship, you can. You have to show the other person that they are safe with you, that you're not going to just leave again, or that there's not going to be any more conflict, because actually you have their best interests at heart.
Sitting down and talking to each other and getting away from other people to be alone for a while together is a good thing.
So can you see what the gentleman, one of the gentlemen that they were interviewed said was, spot on. he was saying, about what we are living nowadays, the society that everything became disposable. I remember, Pastor Philip, that my grandpa, he had a very old radio, but a very old one, one of those that you had to turn, to use the selector to change the frequency and you
find the right frequency.
And you have to be very careful, fine tune. Literally, I believe that the expression fine tune came from there, because literally it's fine tune for you to make sure that you tune the station, the correct station, for you to have a good reception. And I remember that my grandpa used to tell me stories about this radio. He said, "Look, I heard the news of the second World War in this very radio, and now you are listening, the news of 1990 and so here in the same radio." And I wouldn't be surprised if this radio is still there. Unfortunately, my grandpa already passed, but I wouldn't be surprised if this radio is still there, because now those days, back in times, people, they had this habit of
fixing something,
maintaining things, and of course, if it got broken, so they would find a way to fix that in order to maintain that. And I don't know if you, dear listener, you agree with me, but we have an impression sometimes that that old stuff, they used to last longer than the new ones.
Yes, it was meant to last longer.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It was made to last like...
To last,
yeah.
Exactly, to last. And now, and this is what we are living, these days. For example, people that they have, they just bought a phone, but you can be sure, if you bought a new phone now, it doesn't matter the brand, you can be sure that next year the same company will release a new phone. And there are people that they will desperately go and buy this new phone. But let's continue with the list, because I promised you 10 signs of a broken marriage. And not only that, but how to restore, right? Let's continue, please. The sixth one, please, Chad. You have separate bank accounts. We had here in the Love Talk Show a special episode that we only spoke about financial life, money in a marriage, in a relationship. Okay, so I will not go deep in this one, because this one, can be a bit long. But this is a matter of building the future together, trust as well. 7. You hold grudges that seem unforgivable. Yes, exactly what we said before. Perhaps something that your spouse did to you. They made a mistake, upset you. Not only upset you, but broke you, perhaps. And seems like it's impossible to forgive. That's a sign of a broken marriage. Let's go. 8. You are indifferent. Sorry, you are indifferent to each other's needs. Yes, indifference, it's also a sign of a broken marriage. Next, we'll go to the 9th, please. You do not see a future together, especially when you went through all these things, right? So it's quite hard for you to see a future together. And the last one, the last sign, you are unable to see your individual mistakes. And in my opinion, that is one of the strongest signs of a broken marriage. When you are unable to see your own mistakes. And that's a problem, by the way. That's a big problem. So if you want to save your marriage, if you want to make this marriage to finally to work, first, put the feelings aside. Don't take things personal. And understand, okay, what should I do? What can I do for me to save this marriage? Pay attention, please. The question is not, what can you do to save this marriage? No, the question is, what should I do? Not what should you do, what can you do, what do you have to do? Now, what I should do, what I have to do, what can I do in order to save this marriage? And what about the other side? The other side is another story. But you have to do that. You have to concentrate on things you can do. And then you start doing these things. And you have to understand that the recovery process is not quick. It's not, fast. It may take a time, but it's necessary. And Pastor Philip, what happened to couples that they faced a moment of crisis, couples that they had an experience of being a broken relationship, but when they decided to do the right thing, they restored this broken relationship. The result, surprisingly, is that their relationship will become stronger than ever. The bonds, they will be stronger than ever. The connection will be stronger than ever. Couples that once they thought we lost connection, once they do the right thing, they take the right steps in order to fix it, they will see that their relationship will be much better than before.
And the 10 signs that we show here, it will be the opposite. They will have the attraction for each other. They will enjoy being together. They will have plans together. They will have be paying attention to the needs of each other. They will say, I can supply this need. My wife, my husband, they are in need of this. If I do this for them. So then the 10 signs that we showed here today, Pastor, it will happen the opposite. Everything we said, lack of attraction, lack of attention, or lack of trust, or separate bank accounts. No, they will have one bank account, one focus, one goal, one objective in life.
One life.
They will become what the Word of God says, that the man will leave his parents, his father's and mother's house, and go and become one person, one body with that person.
Exactly, because that's the idea of being a marriage, is to be one, is to sum up strength, is for you to be together all the way.
The Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.